What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Gridiron Buzz. I am your host, Daniel, and this is your co-host, Scott, and
What's going
we
on?
are officially into the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. Made it that far. Ain't that great?
Yeah.
A lot of interesting matchups for sure, and we're gonna dive into what our predictions are for the AFC and the NFC.
I just want to make
All
one statement right now. Go Irish. That's all I can say. Go Irish.
so if you guys already didn't know, so we are recording on a Friday. The video should be out on the same day. The Fighting Irish did beat Penn State last night, so that's great for them, of course. After a really slow start to the game, they finally found their footing and won it. Anyways, to what you guys came here for, and that's playoff predictions by us. Starting off with the AFC, just going to go down the list as it goes. So, starting off with the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Houston Texans, the 5 seed taking on the 4 seed. Um, I like the Chargers a lot better in this matchup than Houston. Um, Obviously, Chargers have a coach that's experienced with playoff wins. He's taken the 49ers to the Super Bowl before. Um, and he's just one of those old time coaches that's just built for the playoffs. And I think the Chargers will beat the Texans and move on to the next round. Next is the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Baltimore Ravens, the 6 seed taking on the number 3 seed. Um, this one is a tight one for me. Pittsburgh hasn't played very good the last couple of weeks. I think they can play a great game, but I think Baltimore is still too much to face, and I have Baltimore beating Pittsburgh in that matchup. And finally, in the AFC for the wild card round, it is Denver, the number 7 seed, taking on Buffalo, the number 2 seed. The rookie phenom Bo Nix taking on Josh Allen. I think the Bills do blow Denver out. Denver's been playing great,
I
but I
agree.
do think Buffalo is the better team, and I think they're going to be tough to beat in the playoffs. So that leaves us with the divisional round being Kansas City taking on the Chargers and Baltimore taking on Buffalo. So the 1 seed taking on the 5 seed, the 2 seed taking on the 3 seed. So Kansas City versus the Chargers. The obvious one is the Kansas City Chiefs will be in the AFC Championship. I mean,
I
it
actually
is what
believe the
it is.
Chargers are going to beat the Chiefs and go on the AFC Championship. So,
You think so? Oh
yes,
man.
I think the Chargers played
You
really well during the season. I think the way Herbert lit it up the last week or so, they showed they could pass the ball and they could run the ball, and they just got healthy again. So, I believe the Chargers are going to pull the upset. So,
There you go. You heard it from him. He thinks the Chargers will be in the AFC Championship game. As far as Buffalo taking on Baltimore, this is probably gonna if this is what it comes out to be, this will probably be one of the greatest games all playoffs long. Baltimore versus Buffalo. The running Lamar Jackson taking on you could say the real vanilla Michael Vick and Josh Allen. Um, I do think Buffalo is the better team, and I think Buffalo can beat Baltimore
I believe
and
Baltimore
go.
pulls out the upset as well. I
Oh
like Baltimore in
man!
that one as
So
well.
what he has is he has Baltimore taking on the Chargers, and I have Kansas City taking on Buffalo. Um, I have Kansas City as my AFC champion. Who is your
I
AFC
have the
champion,
Baltimore
Scott?
Ravens, the AFC Championship this year.
The
Certain
Ravens.
statistics tell you to take the Ravens all the way to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
So
wow. Wow.
Joe
There you
Flacco was
go.
28, Lamar Jackson's 28, and what's his name was 28 back in 2000. Was it one? Oh my God, I can't remember his name. But the
I don't even know his
last
name. That
three
was
Super
like
Bowl
before my
appearances,
time.
the quarterbacks have been 28 years old for Baltimore. So I mean, it's just a weird stat. Weird stats do come to fruition. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Lately they haven't, but we'll see. Anyways, moving on to the NFC bracket. Um, the number 5 seed taking on the number 4 seed, Minnesota taking on the Rams. Um, I think the this is a tough one because I do think the Rams can beat Minnesota. Um, but I think Minnesota's going to get there, and it's not going to be because of quarterback play, but it's going to be because of how great the team has been playing as a whole all season. The defense has been great, and I mean Aaron Jones in the run game. I mean that's what
Well,
you need for a deep playoff run is
two,
a good run game.
two of the three losses for Minnesota was to the Ravens and Detroit back-to-back weeks. So I like the Rams in that one as well. I mean, they're not at home
Okay.
because of the Palisades fires, but we'll see what happens. I mean, it's kind of a road game for both of them playing in Arizona now. So, but
Mm-hmm.
I still like the Rams are not loaded up to start the season, so they have all their healthy players back, and they got two stellar wide receivers, a stellar running back, quarterback. Their offensive line needs a little bit of help, but they're still a good team. So I mean, we'll see. I think all the games are going to be great. So I like the Rams in that one as well. So
All right, moving on. I have Washington taking on Tampa Bay. The 6 seed taking on the 3 seed. Um, I think Washington comes away with this victory. That's probably one of the bigger upsets I have is Washington taking
I
on
agree. I like Washington as
Detroit
well.
is
I
what it
think
would end up
Tampa
being.
Bay's
But
defense is a little. Tampa Bay's a little bit banged up right now, so on the defensive
yep,
side, I think Jaden Daniels can expose that. And I mean, they have every team has good both sides of the ball pretty much, except if they start to get injured, coming through the end of the season. That happened to Tampa
yeah.
Bay, so I think they're going to struggle,
hmm
but I see it being a high scoring game as well. So
Well, you heard him, folks. Let's move on to the final game of the wild card. Green Bay taking on Philadelphia, the number 7 seed, taking on the number 2 seed. It's a rematch of Week 1 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, um, where the Eagles barely came away with the victory. Um, I do think Philadelphia can win this game. They have a better running back, better O line, and a defense that's ranked number 1 in the entire NFL this year, which is the
Eagles
first
blow
time the
out
Eagles have had
the
that
Rams. I mean, blow
since
out.
2000.
The Eagles blow them out. I think the Eagles win by 7 or more. I guess that's a blowout. I would say they win by 10 or more. So I think the Eagles show up and put their foot to the pedal and don't let up. So
Yeah, big news today. Hertz was taken off the concussion protocol, so he's back and he'll be starting this week. So that's big news. There's still some questions with Jordan Love I hear as well. Something to do with I think what was it, his knee or something like that he banged up. I'm not
yeah,
entirely sure what he banged up, but yeah, I think it was his knee. Um, but yeah, moving on to the divisional round for the NFC. Detroit, the number 1 seed, taking on Washington. Um, I mean, this is if Washington can manage to get through Tampa, I do think they can manage to get through Detroit. Um, but it's tough. I mean, playoffs are wear and tear. I mean, Washington hasn't been a playoff ready team for a long time. Um, Detroit made it to the NFC Championship game last year. I think Detroit is going to go back to the NFC Championship game
I
over
agree. I think
Washington.
Detroit puts a beating on them. So
Yeah, yep, I agree with that. I agree with that. Detroit, I mean, Detroit's a banged up team too. Don't get me wrong. Their defense is by all means not the best in the entire NFL, but when it's clicking, it's clicking.
they played well the last couple weeks, especially the last week of the season. So Aaron Glenn came out and stopped Minnesota.
Stopped
Minnesota was inside the
Minnesota. Yep,
five 3 or 4 times and couldn't get a touchdown. So
yep.
that's without Detroit's best player, best defensive player too. So
Aiden Hutchinson. Yep, yep. So my bracket is Minnesota taking on Philadelphia. Um, I think the Eagles beat Minnesota. I mean, there's no other way to put it. So what Scott would be having is he would have the Rams taking on the Eagles in
I have
this
the Eagles
matchup.
beating the Rams as well. I think the Eagles are tough at home. I think it's a tough crowd, tough. It's a tough stadium to play in. I think it's going to be probably 25 degrees or 30 degrees, depending on what time they
Yep,
play the game. I mean, that's what it comes down to, and what the weather's going to be like. You don't know what the weather's going to be like in 2 weeks. So, but I still think the Eagles have one of the best running backs in the
exactly.
league. The Rams have a good running back as well, but what Saquon Barkley did all season long is just tremendous, and hopefully the Eagles pull it out and play in the NFC Championship.
Exactly. I agree with that statement. So, we both have the same NFC Championship game then, being Detroit versus Philadelphia. Um, so this game would be in Detroit, which, if you guys did not know, Detroit plays in a dome. They don't play in a outdoor stadium. So anyone that goes to Detroit, I mean, that's kind of beneficial to both teams, you could say.
Well, it's very
I,
beneficial for Detroit. Detroit has a stellar record in
yeah,
domes this season.
in domes.
I think
Yep.
they had 14 games or 13 games, and I think they went 12-1 in domes. So uh, I think the line's probably going to be Eagles +5 or something is what it's going to be. So
Well, I have the Eagles beating Detroit for a rematch of the Super Bowl the Eagles lost to Kansas City. I
I'm going to
mean,
go. I'm going to have to go with the Lions on a last-second field goal, tied game, 27-all. Detroit pulls it out 30-27. That's what I think is going to happen. So
so you're saying Detroit will get to their first ever Super Bowl this year?
yes, that's correct. Yes.
All right, interesting prediction. Interesting prediction. Uh, yeah, so Scott has Detroit taking on
The Ravens.
Ravens, and I have Philadelphia taking on Kansas City.
And I have the
Um,
Ravens winning the Super Bowl.
oh, okay. You guys hear that? Big shakeup. Big shakeup. Nice. Amen. It is what it is. We will
I think Lamar
definitely
Jackson
see
is a huge
what
difference maker,
happens within the coming weeks.
his record against NFC opponents is just remarkable. So, but he's got to get there first. So
He's got to go the distance, and we'll see what happens. Rocky went the distance, so I'm gonna hope the Eagles can bring the Rocky mentality and go the distance, get there, and then finally win. Just like, I mean, if you want me to put it in perspective, movie perspective, so the first movie, the Eagles lost to Kansas City. The second movie, I mean, like Rocky beat Apollo Creed in the second movie. I mean, the Eagles can beat Kansas City in this one. Boom, boom. All right.
okay, we'll see. There we go.
And then, let's move into our playoff picks of the week. Scott, start us off with your two picks of the week
I
for the
have
playoffs.
first pick's going to be the Buffalo Bills over the Broncos. Rookie quarterback. Played great during the season. Playoffs is a huge, big difference. Especially going into Buffalo. I think I don't know what the weather is. I think it's freezing cold though tomorrow. So or is it Sunday?
Probably. It's
No, they
supposed
play. They
to. It's
play
supposed
Sunday.
to snow. It's supposed to snow depending where you are. So
It's going to be 31 degrees on Sunday. I mean, Broncos playing cold weather either way, so it doesn't matter. But
exactly.
I
Yep.
think Josh Allen's a difference maker, and I don't think they should have a problem. Uh, winning by 10 or more against Broncos. So my other pick, I'm going to go with the Rams
All
over the
right.
Vikings plus 3.5. So.
Okay. So you're buying a point on that one.
Well, it's a half a
'Cause-
point. They're plus 3 right now, so it was actually 4 when the line opened, or 4.5. So
Oh, okay. Well, I had the Rams at 2.5.
it's 3 on
Um.
ESPN right now. I'm not looking at
Oh, okay.
FanDuel. So
Well, going into my picks already, I had the Rams at 2.5 via FanDuel. Um, doesn't mean they're going to win. That's just a spread. And then Washington, I have +3 over Tampa. To me, that seemed like a pretty easy one. Um, but yeah, those are my picks. Those are Scott's picks. And here we are for an interesting NFL playoffs. Hopefully,
some
you
very good
guys
teams
have
playing this
some
year.
fun.
It should be a lot of excitement. So I mean,
Yep,
a couple teams are banged up. Defense, Tampa Bay. Offense, Texans, and we'll see what happens. That bye week's going to help. I think it's really helps out this year for the teams that got the bye. So
100%, 100%. And well, that's everything from us this week, guys. Hopefully, you guys have some fun watching some really good football games. Try to stay out of weather if it's bad near you or anywhere else, especially to those in LA. I hope you guys are okay. I hear it's pretty bad over there, so
everyone have
stay safe,
be
okay?
safe.
And
Be safe this
enjoy the
weekend. Best
football
of luck with your
games.
bets. Best of luck with your bets. And if you have any fantasy leagues that you can get in for the playoffs, try it, see if it works for you, and best of luck to you.
There you go.
Have a good one,
Later on,
everyone.
guys.
Bye bye.